Thank you so much, Dr. Mugwanya, for the presentation. Kindly take a seat over there. Dear participants, another big round of applause to all these presenters today. At this point in time, I want to request the presenters that we had during the morning, Dr. Carl to kindly join the front, as well as Dr. Richard Miiro. So we're going to take some questions. Remember, we promised you, we deferred some questions to the afternoon. Madam Beatrice kindly joined the team over there. And we are going to take some questions from the audience. These could be reflections. These could be questions directed to the specific speakers. This is the time. Dr. Okonya, kindly check over that.
Name, institution, question. For the benefit of the rapporteur.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm called Ochen Omar Bashir. I work as an ERA under the Access Agriculture. My question is on the AI. We have been in school and lecturers have been cautioning us, if you make a coursework with the AI, if we detect, you are going to see trouble. And of course, I've also tried by level base and I've understood that AI has got all that information. Actually, they said I tried to abuse AI. I told AI, I wrote there that you are stupid. And it told me, it answered me that fair enough. I don't have any problem with you. If you have any problem, maybe it's better to point it out. But of course, how can we also inform the institutions? How can we make the institutions aware that technology has advanced? And how can we use it also in education purposes? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to take the first round of questions, or 6 questions, and then we'll take another round.
Yeah, and each panelist must get a question. So the next question should go to a different person. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Christine Alokit from Kabi. I have actually been wondering, I don't know who exactly this question applies to, but might be to all of us. We have talked about the private extension. We have mentioned about the actors who are in the extension system, the farmer, the research, and so on. But going back to the villages, he asked about the question. I think there's a missing middle somewhere that we don't have here. There are so many apps that could talk about where to sell your produce. There are so many brokers who will tell you about the quality of passion fruits or potato they want. But at the production level, the farmer is dealing with all sorts of laborers. Where are these laborers in our thinking? For us to ensure quality, we have to deal with those laborers. Okay. You train me as a farmer, probably I have 20 of them, and some of them actually have groups. They will say you want to weed your cassava, they'll do it in one day and they go away. You want to spray, some young man will come naked as he is with his pump, he will spray and go away. And I'm just thinking that these people have a very, very critical role to improve the quality of our produce.
Okay, thank you so much.
Can we think about them? Thank you.
All right, and I would like Dr. Biryomumeisho to talk about that.
And I'm mindful of the gender as well. So gentleman, lady, gentleman. Okay, next person will be lady. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Desire Hakizimana, an East African from Kilimo Trust. So mine is short but related to harmonization. If I look at stakeholders that are here, we all in extension services, but sometimes, as some previous speakers have talked about it, we all found ourselves with the same message, somehow even distorted to the same people. And this is an issue that can be addressed with policies or other interventions. So we have a same guideline, as one speaker said, about these professional organizations. So also extension can have a guideline. If there is a project a partner is implementing, has to follow that same guideline in order to not have distortions in what we are promoting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That question
Thank
goes
you very
to who?
much. It's a great insight, but I'll request Carl to talk about it briefly.
Yes, good afternoon, colleagues. Damali Magala is my name. I work for NARO, and I'm based at Mukono Zadi. And one of my functions is to engage with communities. One of the issues has been raised by my colleague that the fact that we are dealing with multiple extension advisors, the issue of quality is very critical. Then the fact that we need to accept that our extension services are very thin on ground. And we know very well that one of the objectives is to ensure that our extension services are standardized and registered. But right now, we need to think what are the short-term strategies we can have in place before we are registered, before our services are standardized, and we must have answers. We should have some answers during this forum. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I request Dr. Rosemirta to speak through that.
Somebody has the mic? Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nyadai Mariam from Shambogo University. I have a question on AI. AI tends to generalize information, and yet we have different localities. Even within the same district, you may realize we have different agroecological areas. How can we help the farmers, the local farmers down there, to get the information that actually suits their local environmental conditions in order to benefit from this AI? Thank you.
Okay, some people are missing questions. Liz, anyone?
Okay, this is about real-time and location specificity.
Yeah.
And I'd like Dr. Mugwanya to take that. That is the second question that goes to him.
So we are missing a question
Yes,
for
Beatrice and Dr. Miiro.
what is the question for Beatrice? Allow me to go to the back benches. Sorry to use that one.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
By name, I'm Collie Gerald. I work with NARO in West Nile Agroecological Zone. That's Abizade. My question will have gone to the main ministry which hosted us here. In West Nile, we are really getting a big challenge of uncoordinated extension service between MAIF, Ministry of Water, and Environment. One aspect is that the land has been degraded because of presence of refugees and no alternative livelihood strategies for the community. And yet, here we are promoting smart agriculture, but cannot be practiced without the other MDAs. My question to the gathering is, how best can we unify the mother ministry together with other sister ministries to ensure that at least service delivery is targeting one user with one statement? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that will be taken by Dr. Miiro, but it is also okay to draw on the audience to respond to some of these questions.
Yes, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
My name is Stuart Ategeka. I serve at Easy Agric, Uganda's leading agtech platform. My question, also a comment, goes to Dr. Mugwanya. Right now at Easy Agric, we are embedding AI into our digital platform. But one of the biggest challenges we are facing is training our model on localized data. Responding in something similar to one of the participants, which they asked that farmers in the different areas are having challenges. The data is generic. So at Easy Agric, we are trying to make sure that it's not generic. But the biggest challenge we are facing in doing this, that some data, for example, at district level, never voluntarily gets into the IoT, the Internet of Things, if I can say so. For example, district-specific production data, there is data that you'll find seated at districts in hard copies. And such kind of data could be very helpful to digital platforms such as Easy Agric, who are trying to localize the kind of advice our farmers are getting. So how can we collaborate in a coordinated manner, like they already highlighted before, to make sure that as long as we are not violating the data protection policies, we have sufficient data and any research that has been done available within the Internet of Things to help companies like Easy Agric train our AI models to be more efficient.
Okay, thank you so much. We can take those for now. We'll have another round.
In the meantime, maybe we have some people write their questions and they'll bring them to you so that you read them out and award them because the time.
Okay, very important. Dear panelists, this is the time to respond to the different questions that have come through. And I'm going to start with the panelist on my right here. There was a question about standardization of extension. Someone indicated that, yes, it is a process. But what are some of the short-term measures that can be put in place so that we have quality extension messaging?
Thank you very much. Yes, standardization is pertinent because we are questioning whether extension should be professionalized and to what extent. And I think in this room we have the godfather of professionalization of extension, the godmother, and that is Professor Mangeni. The first time I had professionalization of extension was in 2012, and I did not know that today I would be the professionalization expert for Africa under GFRAS. Dr. Carl, I don't know whether you knew that you put that in the project design. Can we, at this point in time, can I ask you to stand up for recognition, Prof? I would not answer this because the knowledge I'm going to use is stemming from Professor Mangeni. She produced the first manual on professionalization of extension. And I read it, that was 2013? Yeah, and then I said, what is this? But right now, the question fortunately comes to me when I have a use case of Rwanda. I was just looking at their presentation. Rwanda has taken the lead for professionalizing extension by saying that private extension should be certified to be able to provide extension. And we are supporting that. I'm one of the people doing the backstopping so that the government of Rwanda makes sure that every person who is an extensionist is certified, and you cannot provide extension services without a certificate. So, Prof, your fruits are getting on the Africa continent and they are not falling on the dry spell. So what is it that we are putting in the professionalization of extension case for Rwanda, which we are spreading across Africa? One is the ensuring that you have the minimum academic qualifications necessary to provide extension services. Then two, as having been a professionalization expert for the GFRAS project that you see around, one of the things that we are learning is that extension is an industry, and therefore it has to have clear taxonomies and standard operating procedures for extension. So we are putting that because we are hearing people mixing taxonomies, and then they call extension advisory. They say advisory is extension. So small things like that. And thanks, my dear Prof, and what is not extension. Lastly, what we are putting there for short-term strategies is to ensure that the services are paid for. So there is some bit of recognition that there is need to tag value for extension, so that they can know that when you provide quality extension to this tune, you are paid this amount of money, and therefore professionalization is attracting tiers of expert revenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause, please. As we take the next question, this was about quality. Who is looking at the laborers down there? Because we very well know that whatever they do at that level will affect your exports and that level. Dr. Biryomumeisho.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope the
press.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very good question, by the way. But I will use my experience to answer this as a commercial farmer. What I have seen, casual laborers are not interested in all the science, and they actually think, usually like educated people, when you are trying to tell them a lot, you are a wiseacre, or you don't understand. They will say, for us who have been here doing these things, we know. But what I've seen that works is for you to be able, as a farmer, now I'm just trying to say that this work is now for you as a farmer, not them. But it is you to be able to break it down for them. If it is spraying, for example, say this is how I want you to spray, without even giving a lot of reasons, and spray it like this. If you want them to gazette, this is how I want you to do, and do it like this. And as they do it and start working, you educate them better. But if you start with theory, they already know they are biased. For example, especially if you're educated farmer, they think actually you are theoretical. If you are to teach them on how to change something, it's going to take long. But for them, they understand it better when you say, do this, do it like this. Do this, do it like this. Then afterwards, you go back after they are seeing results that actually this is the reason why you need to do it like this. So you must be careful on how to work with them.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mugwanya, please tell us, AI in coursework at school, in those academic settings, they are 3 in 1. Next was around AI and capturing location-specific data. What is in place? And lastly, the data is not available to train these AI models. How do we collaborate? Who would we talk to? You have the floor.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you all for the questions. It just reinforces my take-home message that you could have asked AI these questions, but again, you've come back to me. That shows you that humans will still be here and AI will just be an assistant. But to the student who challenged AI and also challenged your professor, there's something larger than that, beyond even you as a student. And at the institutional level, I think there's a mindset piece to this. So the same message for extension. Institutions that are not leveraging AI are going to be replaced by those institutions that are leveraging AI tools. And I tell you, as someone who was trained abroad, and even before this AI world was here, I got a sense of it almost when I was finishing my PhD. And I was like, I wish this had come when I'd just started my PhD. And it was sort of feeling bad that I had to go through repetitive tasks, like think of literature review. there are 2 AI tools that can help you scan the top of the cream of the field you're in. And you just need to know who is the expert, who is not the expert, who should I pay attention to, and why should you spend months in a library in Makerere looking for those books and catalogs. So think of that institution that's leveraging those tools and the rate at which it will channel their students compared to you who is still old school. So the mindset is, I think, important. And this brings me to the other piece, which is the capacity building piece, where I think this is an opportunity for every actor. And I see UFAAS here is an opportunity to figure out those actually critical needs where AI would move a needle for all the actors involved in extension. And when it comes to coordination, I still see UFAAS, you have a role there to see how to bring whoever is talking about AI and then put them in the room, and we see who is actually doing what is AI and who is just jumping onto the hype. Overall, I think on when it comes to data and how to get the models to be a little more localized, that's going to take the policy angle to some of these questions, where we need to interrogate some of those tough questions around whose data are we using to train the model, what are the ethics surrounding that, and how do we as practitioners go away from using generalized sort of data to inform farmers and be more ethical in, you know, being open that, okay, we are giving you this information based on data which was for Kamuli, and it might have limitations for you who is in Mbale. So this is going to call for everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Miiro. This was about uncoordinated extension. Different ministries, different service providers, same clients, same location. What do you have to say?
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Okay, good. Well, the way I see from my point, the Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Minister of Water and the Environment, Minister of Local Government, and other ministries, I tend to want to suggest that we need a body that they all respect, to bring them in the same house and to demand that they work together and be coordinated. I see here the Office of the Prime Minister, and I stand to be guided by the DPMOs. We even have the Senior Agriculture Officer here, Bwana Joseph Oke. Who will you listen to? That I think this party can help coordinate and deal with these potential wastages. The other one you can guess, UFAAS. But I think government is the best. But I think as UFAAS again, and as a network who are in this room, we can agree with mutual respect. And I think it was Dr. Kasim who talked about humility. In fact, I wanted to suggest, I wished I could take this question of standardization. We already have the standards and guidelines produced by our great team leader, Professor Mangeni, through UFAAS. We have the ethical code of conduct. We can agree in this house to go back and start implementing those standards. So again, UFAAS, I believe, with all of your support and the board, of course it will be you. We want you to be the conveners together with the OPM. So you and I, we're going to lobby OPM, and we shall bring the ministries together to do work. But a DPMO can guide as well as Kulu Joseph. Okay.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Miiro. And then to you, Carl, there is a lot of distortion of messaging out there. And in fact, the person who has said, you know, at times the messages are conflicting. And he even went ahead to suggest guidelines. Whenever partners are coming to implement something, they need to have a guideline so that they all adhere to them. Please share your thoughts.
Yeah, that would be nice. in honesty, I think it's impossible, because who should make these guidelines and who decides which of the guidelines are the right guidelines?
Yeah.
I mean, just take the whole issue about climate smart agriculture, agroecology, permaculture, regenerative growth, organic agriculture. They're all centered around the same thing. And it makes everyone confused. It makes the scientists confused. It makes the extension workers confused. It makes the farmers confused. It makes the government officials confused, because everybody comes and says more or less the same, but with a different label. And that is what we see again and again and again. And it's like the international community has to come up with a new concept every decade or every half decade. And then they are pushing it like the only solution in the world and forget all the ones we had before. And it's just frustrating. So I fully acknowledge your need for better guidelines, but we lacking anybody who has the authority to make that guidelines. And before the guidelines have been printed and sent to you, we need another guidelines because another concept have been dumped our desk.
Yeah.
This is the reality. I mean, I think what extension can do is the whole standardization things. What is the minimum requirements? It is to be working in the space of extension. So having a very clear frame and a lot of flexibility within that frame. Basically, what your best guideline if you work in extension and advisory services, what makes sense for farmers? Whatever the concept is called, whatever it is, how do I translate it to something that makes sense for the farmer's daily livelihood? That's your job. And then don't bring all these concepts and all these things. Just make it into simple dialogue with the farmer about their issues. That was how I would do it. And then if you go into academia and if you have to write a degree, you have to struggle with it. If you go to meetings and have to present, you have to struggle with it. But in your dialogue with the farmers, keep it simple, keep it relevant. That would be my advice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Madam Beatrice, this is not to bombard you, but I know you participated in the activity to develop the standards and guidelines for extension. Would you like to share, in addition to what she said, your experience and some of the things you considered in just 2 minutes?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And yes, we participated, we supported the ministry to develop these materials as I think one of the ways of unpacking the policy brief. I mean the extension policy. And there were actually 3. I think there's one which we are forgetting. The first one was guidelines and standards for the agriculture extension. And then the second one, the ethical code of conduct. And the third one was procedures for registration and accreditation of extension actors. And I think for me, one of the biggest pain is that it looks like those materials are stayed on the shelves. I ended up following up and was saying every DPMO got a copy, and that means that they are, they are on the shelves of the DPMOs. I don't know that they ever went down to the sub-counties. But also, of course, they are on the website of, if you search them, they are actually well placed and really present on the website of MAIF. So whenever I want to really refer to them, I look for them. But the painful thing which I've said that they have not really been, some of them it's because of the bill they talked about, because some of them were low. The issue of like ethical conduct, the ethical conduct you cannot actually, I cannot go to Liz and say, you are not, you are not acting ethical. That is not ethical. She will ask me under what law. Yeah. So some of them, even the issue of accreditation and all that. And I think with the government, with the Directorate of Extension, we had agreed that let us do the registration. And the biggest issue was the registration of the non-state actors, because the ministry say they have the list of all the public extension, though eventually we had decided that to have a one uniform thing, because there was a lot more information than what they had on the extension workers. For them, it was just a profile, like, the name, the contact, and all that. But the other one was going fast. So we agreed on developing the portal. We developed the portal with our ICT person working on the website. We actually agreed that we started the registration, but that registration was launched in the e-registration, the e-symposium, which I talked about in 2020. It was commissioned by the minister, and we actually went down to discuss, because the ministry had the role of scaling it down to see that every actor, especially the non-state actors within the district, is registered and known where he is. It is a beautiful tool which has also sat, because we developed a separate website because they said it was too heavy for a website. It is sitting on its own website, which we have been paying for annually and waiting for, because scaling it out to the whole country, it was supposed to be the minister having a few people, a few districts or whatever being registered there, but it would have been a good tool. For me, I think it's one of the things which will say, how do we, in the morning, you remember that the commissioner said that actually we are not lacking policies, and we have them. The biggest problem is whatever we have put, we have done, how do we implement it? In some cases, even where it doesn't need any law, we have failed.
All right, thank you so much. A big round of applause to our presenters. So we'll take the next round of questions, but before we do that, I request each one of us to stand up and stretch a bit. We've been sitting for quite a long time. Stretch a bit. We'll use just 1 minute, and then we get back to the task. All right, thank you very much. Kindly take your seats. So these other questions have come from us, the audience, and we have them here, and we'll read each one of them. To Dr. Rosemirta, you talked about opportunities like the young population and strong farmer organizations. How does this influence the scaling and marketing the questions? So kindly take note, and then you'll come out to answer. To Dr. Eric Carl, you hinted that policymakers could look at incentives or mechanisms that encourage collaboration. Could this approach work in policy negotiation? If yes, is there any country you know that you can give us an example where this has worked? And this question is from Francis, who is the agricultural officer of Gulu. To the AI man, to the AI man, how can you quantify the level of adoption in using AI? So this goes to Dr. Miiro and also to Dr. Biryomumeisho. How can we make our extension trainings from the value chain approach, not only producing extension workers with only one production node? What could be done to reduce the research gaps between the farmers and the institutions? And what risks are associated as the results of the gaps? I think yes. What could be done to reduce the research gaps between the farmers and research institutions? And then what risks are associated as a result of the gaps? Okay, it is a bit general, but I think it's about a disconnect. Yes, farmers are there, researchers there, and there is no linkage. And then again to the AI man, how can we handle or solve challenges related to AI in extension? And these include resistance to change, language and content, as well as the ethical and security concerns. Okay, so we talk of the unique non-conventional users who are the exporters or importers. However, how do we build demand for quality locally? 45 million Ugandans, and ensure that they pay for these extension services. This can go to Dr. Rosemirta. And lastly, but not least, some questions I may need AI to read the handwriting. Yes, to the Ministry of Health acknowledges the value of the village health teams. These are the VHTs in bridging the gap on the last mile health service support. What is the barrier for the ministry or the district local government to recognize and integrate the farm enterprise trainers or the CBFs, the community-based facilitators, in offering extension? And this I will go to Beatrice. The VHTs are working in Ministry of Health. Why is it hard for agriculture to have the VHTs at a lower level? And the very last one, how should extension agents determine the prices they charge for their services? Okay, and I'll also direct this to Dr. Rosemirta. Dr. Rosemirta, would you like to start us off? Yes. Dr. Biryomumeisho.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the question that was given to me was about how do we ensure that the extension workers indeed understand like value chain as opposed to the node. It's an interesting question for me, but what I think is there are different approaches indeed. So if you know you want to work with a value chain or provide extension services in the value chain, I think the first thing, if you saw in my presentation, you need to be ahead. You needed to know, you need to understand, you needed to get involved in the entire value chain if you are interested in that, and then you are able to provide the extension service along the value chain. But quite often, sometimes it is hard, especially if it comes to really value addition of like product making. I understand value addition, people want to think about it from only when you are making a product out, but also if you are a farmer, for example, and you're able to sort like the spoiled from the good ones. That is also very addition. But if you are interested upwards from the farmer up, then I think you have to invest indeed in the entire value chain and understand it and be able to provide the service, but you need to put cost into considerations.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Mugwanya, the AI man.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you for the questions. The question on quantification, a good question. The literature right now shows the adoption is low, and even where it's happening, it's still in pilots. And now the question and debate is on scaling some of those pilot cases that have shown real value in terms of AI having a leverage to help with issues such as pest and disease detection.
Okay.
Then when it comes to challenges in AI and how to handle those, there's no easy answer to that depending on what the challenge is. And I've tried to group some of the challenges that could be capacity building related challenges. That's where the likes of UFAAS institutions that are in advisory and capacity building can jump in to help at least give the basics, like what happened today. Consider that as, you know, the baby stage of capacity building. The other challenges relating to data ethics, just like any other innovation and technology that is emerging, there will always be associated socio-political aspects around it. And those are normally regulated through policy. And this is where policy has to evolve as fast as AI is also changing, so that some of these pertinent concerns are really taken care of. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Dr. Miiro, about the training.
Also, okay. I think my colleague, Dr. Biryomumeisho, has endeavored to suggest what to do, but I would just add, I think the training, for example, at universities or agricultural colleges, giving opportunity for internships that are also in market-oriented systems, so that the intern is actually within that value chain itself and is required to appreciate what happens right from production to the final consumer. The other so that way the person in training knows what goes on. But I also hope that during that training, we can offer some functional skills around collaboration. I think some interns also provide for space for teamwork, learn to work in teams, but maybe not so much. But there's a lot of importance on collaborating and networking, the way Dr. Kasim told us how he was leveraging networks. So I think collaboration also should be considered in there.
All right. Thank you so much. Dr. Carl.
As a learning outcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Carl, please.
Okay, I just go ahead. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So I was asked where if there are examples where collaboration work and people are not working so much in silos. I think one of the examples in the agricultural sphere is the land-grant system of the US, where you have education, research, and extension at the same university working hand in hand. It's not flawless, nothing is flawless, but it's one of the systems where we really see that the different partners in what we call the agricultural knowledge and innovation system are in the same institutions, are working together. And because they're in the same institutions, these incentive structures are aligned for collaboration. When we are in the silos, the incentive structures are not aligned for collaboration. Then I haven't studied it myself, but the Embrapa, the NARO system in Brazil, has been very effective, and I know it's been used as a role model how to do that. So that is, I don't know the details, but that is one of the places I would go and look. So the land-grant university system in the US And it was interesting because the MAIP representatives make a comparison between Uganda and Ethiopia. And Ethiopia actually more or less adapted the land-grant university in their agricultural universities, while Uganda has adapted the British system, where you're completely detached, very academic and very detached for practice. That was the British system, but that's not the American system. So it's also what system you're born within, you can say, or how the system has been designed. I think the best thing you can do, there was also what is the role of the policy people. The best thing you can do is that you put a pot of money to solve a problem. And when you start, the first thing you do is to bring all the stakeholders in the room. And then together, they analyze the problem, try to really dig deep. What are all the aspects of the problems? And then they have a clear problem analysis. They say, okay, what are the solutions? And always there was another discussion about Ministry of Agriculture, Environment, and there are conflicts, there are ambiguities. Agriculture, the more productive you are, the more you can harm the environment, or the more you can influence the climate. So there's a lot of
let me hope I understood the question is that I heard that saying that the Minister of Health has the village health trainers, and what about agriculture? I think the answer is, I mean, all of us who have been in the field, we know that we definitely have that level of the non-professionals, but who have been trained to train farmers. And we have always said that, you know, these are, you can call them farmer trainers, but I've found that so many different organizations have different names for them. We have the village trainer, some people say village trainers, farmer-based facilitators, village agents, then the village-based, you know, agents and all that. I think this level is there. Maybe what I would say that when we were doing the documents I've talked about, developing the document I've talked about, we did a benchmarking, and we found out that actually the Minister of Health is the one which actually has a need, like the one of us in agriculture, because of the ratio, you know, the ratio of extension to farmer. Actually, even in health, that is extension. It's extension in health. And so it was recognized. And even when it came to registration, it was recognized that they have to be registered, not as professionals, but to be so that they can actually be regulated. Not so their registration is not as professionals, but it's like they register and we know who has actually trained them and in what. Because you know that those people, they actually, at times they become like experts on things even when which they don't know. So they are there. It's not true that they are not there, and many were launched. I participated in that process where I went the whole country launching and recognizing the village agent model.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing. But also what is very important is that in case you feel the question hasn't been answered, there is an opportunity to get one-on-one and get more information. Lastly, Dr. Rosemirta, please, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, colleagues, for the wonderful questions that you have given me. Which gives me an opportunity to share more. The first question was on the opportunities for the youth and the farmer organizations that I mentioned. For Uganda, I think this is a game changer because what is very important is the AES has transformed, and the transformation sits within digitalization as well as off-farm solutions. And the the kind of category of service providers here are the youth, because they don't want to sit in the farm, and neither do they want to sit in controlled offices. So sitting in their own spaces of comfort and providing digital solutions, either in transactions or in information or any service, off-farm service, maybe like an app, this is a game changer. And I think we need not to give it little attention, but give it attention and invest in it. The other aspect of the farmer organizations or any form of convention of the farmers is because the global market is demanding for what we call the QQTC, which now add L as part of the location, the quality, quantity, timeliness in supply and production, and also convenient locations for the produce. And so farmer organizations like the farmer field schools, when we're reviewing the extension models, have the capacity to produce the right quantity, the right quality, under controlled timeliness using climate smart agriculture. And therefore, we think farmer organizations become a game changer as well. In terms of unique non-conventional users, this is also an emerging extension demand. For instance, I've been having a conversation with the exporters of agricultural produce, and they are challenged with the issue still of QQTC, quality control, in terms of moisture, in terms of seed quality, uniformity of the product, and they cannot get the services of an extensionist who is seated there. So I was looking at one of the exporting companies, and they had hired somebody who had no information about quality control. So our extension services could bring in non-conventional extension disciplines like quality control, which are post-harvest or post-industrial extension services. Then lastly, how can extension agents trigger payment for services? Yeah, that is lastly, my 2 minutes are up. How can extension agents trigger payment for services? I think what is very imperative is that the value proposition in your services has to be clearly defined, because so you don't need to trigger. People have to come to you once you have a competitive offer to provide. So I gave an example of the quality control officers who are highly required. Even the international protocol has said you cannot export a commodity unless you have a certified QC, a person who has been trained, but we have not considered them in extension. So these are important extension disciplines that have been neglected but are fetching a lot of international revenue. Therefore, our traditional extension has to look at serving non-conventional extension users like industrialists, exporters, logisticians, and other service providers downstream the export value chain. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. A very big round of applause for our panelists this morning. Thank you so much, panelists. We are concluding this with a group photo while standing. Thank you.